Hi, welcome. Today we are going to start with the new topic free radicals. In the first lecture, we will study the introduction and the generation of free radicals. Let us start with introduction. Now, what is the definition of free radical? A free radical, often simply called a radical, it may be defined as a species that contains one or more unpaired electrons. Okay, for example, see, suppose if we have chlorine molecule Cl2, when we give photochemical energy to it, so that chlorine bond undergo cleavage to form 2Cl radicals. So in this case, now chlorine, it has one unpaired electron. So a free radical, it is a species that contains one or more unpaired electrons. Now note that this definition includes certain stable inorganic molecules such as NO and NO2, as well as many individual atoms such as Na and Cl. Now, as with carbocations and carbanions, simple alkyl radicals are very reactive. So when we compare the free radicals, that is alkyl radicals, with carbocations and carbanions, the alkyl radicals are very reactive. We have to remember this. Their lifetimes are extremely short in solution, but they can be kept for relatively long periods frozen within the crystal lattices of other molecules. Many spectral measurements have been made on radicals trapped in this manner. Even under these conditions, the methyl radical decomposes with a half-life of 10 to 15 minutes in a methanol lattice at 77 Kelvin. Since the lifetime of a radical depends not only on its inherent stability, but also on the conditions under which it is generated, the term persistent and stable are usually used for the different senses. So now there are two terms, one is persistent radicals and another is stable radicals. Now what is meant by stable radical? See, a stable radical is inherently stable, okay, but a persistent radical, it has a relatively long lifetime under the conditions at which it is generated, though it may not be very stable. So this is the main difference between a stable radical and persistent radical. Stable radical is inherently stable, and a persistent radical, it may not be very stable, but it has a relatively long lifetime under the conditions at which it is generated. Okay, so in this first slide we have seen the definition of radical. Okay, then the two important terms, that is persistent radicals and the stable radicals. Now, generation of free radicals. See, free radicals are formed from molecules by breaking a bond so that each fragment keeps one electron. Okay, when bond undergo breaking, each fragment will keep one electron. The energy necessary to break the bond is supplied in one of two ways. So that two ways are, one is the thermal cleavage and another is the photochemical cleavage. Now see, what is thermal cleavage? Subjection of any organic molecule to a high enough temperature in the gas phase results in the formation of free radicals. See, for example, if we consider molecule diacyl peroxide, so this molecule, it is the diacyl peroxide. See, two acyl groups are there, therefore di, okay, and oxygen bonding is there, so it is a peroxide. Now this molecule, when heated, it undergo oxygen bond cleavage. So a bond undergo cleavage or breaking and there is a formation of two fragments. Each fragment keeps one electron. So there is a formation of two acyl free radicals. Then second example, it is of a azo compound. See, this is azo compound. In this case, again, the carbon-nitrogen bond on both sides undergo cleavage. So there is a formation of N2 molecule along with the generation of 2R radicals. So in these two examples, free radicals are generated by heating the molecules. Okay. Then second route is the photochemical cleavage. The energy of light of 600 to 300 nanometer is 48 to 96 kilocalorie per mole, or it is 200 to 400 kilojoule per mole. So we have to again remember this thing. The energy of light of 600 to 300 nanometer is 48 to 96 kilocalorie per mole, and in other terms, it is 200 to 400 kilojoule per mole, which is of the order of magnitude of covalent bond energies. For example, see, this is the example of chlorine. It undergo photochemical cleavage to form 2Cl radicals. Then this ketone, RC double bond OR, undergo cleavage on photochemical irradiation in vapor phase. And how cleavage takes place? See, the carbon bond undergo cleavage to form acyl radical and one alkyl radical. Okay, so these are the two ways for the generation of free radicals. First one is the thermal cleavage and second one is the photochemical cleavage. Now, next, radicals are also formed from other radicals, either by the reaction between a radical and a molecule, which must give another radical since the total number of electrons is odd, or by cleavage of a radical to give another radical. Okay, so one radical will give us another radical. For example, see, this PH C double bond O radical, benzoxy radical, there is a formation of double bond between carbon and oxygen. Okay, then the ring carbon will keep one electron. So there is a formation of pH radical along with the carbon dioxide. So the first radical will give us second radical. Okay, this pH radical is newly formed radical. Then radicals can also be formed by oxidation or reduction, including electrolytic methods. So by oxidation or reduction, we can form free radical, including electrolytic methods also. Then reactions of free radicals either give stable products, then that process is called termination reactions. When the free radicals combine with each other to give stable product, then we call that process as a termination reaction, or lead to other radicals which themselves must usually react further, which is called as propagation reactions. The most common termination reactions are simple combinations of similar or different radicals. Now see, the formed radicals may undergo recombination, so that R radical combine with R dash radical to form that R dash molecule. So this is the termination process. Now why it is termination? Because the formed radicals are combined and there is a no formation of any new radical. So it is a termination process. There is a no propagation. Okay. Another termination process is disproportionation. Now see how disproportionation take place in this molecule. Suppose if we write these two radicals as HCH2 CH2 radical, okay, it combine with another CH3 CH2 radical. Okay, so see how there is a formation of carbon-carbon double bond on this side, and that H radical is formed. That H radical, it combines with this carbon radical. So there is a formation of CH3 along with CH2 double bond CH2. So in this mechanism, there is a disproportionation. What takes place here? It is the disproportionation. So one hydrogen from one radical goes to another radical to form ethane molecule, and in first molecule there is the formation of carbon-carbon double bond. Next, there are 4 principal propagation reactions, of which the first 2 are most common. Now see, first reaction, abstraction of another atom or group, usually a hydrogen atom. So see, for example, in this case, the hydrogen atom from this molecule is taken by this alkyl radical. So there is a formation of RH, and new radical is formed on the carbon atom of this R dash. So R dash radical is formed. Okay. So abstraction of another atom or group, usually a hydrogen atom. So this is the propagation reaction. New R dash radical is formed. It again combined with the another molecule. Then second one is the addition to a multiple bond. See, this R radical, it may add to this multiple bond. Okay, so new radical is formed. So this new radical is formed. Again, it may undergo propagation reaction, further reaction. So these are the first 2 propagation reactions. Then third one is the decomposition. This can be illustrated by the decomposition of the benzoxy radical. So we have seen that this is the benzoxy radical. It undergo decomposition to form the phenyl radical and the carbon dioxide. Okay. Then fourth one is the rearrangement. See, in this radical, rearrangement takes place to form a new radical. Now, how rearrangement takes place? See, the one of the alkyl group, it migrates on this carbon atom. So CH2R is formed, and that carbon will take electron to form a new radical or new free radical, which is more stable than the first. Now see, this is less common than rearrangement of carbocations, but it does occur. Okay, this is less common than rearrangement of carbocations, but it does occur, though not when R is alkyl or hydrogen. So such a type of rearrangements can also take place, though it is less common. Now, besides these reactions, free radicals can be oxidized to carbocations or reduced to carbanion. Okay, so free radicals, again we have to remember this thing, free radicals can be oxidized to carbocation. So if we take one electron from a free radical, then there is a formation of carbocation, and if we give one electron to the free radical, then there is a reduction and there is a formation of carbanion. So again, this sentence is important. Free radicals can be oxidized to carbocations or reduced to carbanions. Okay, so in this lecture we have seen a definition of free radical, then the 2 terms, that is persistent and stable free radicals, then generation of free radicals by 2 methods, that is thermal cleavage and the photochemical cleavage, then the 4 principal propagation reactions, that is first one is the abstraction of another atom or group, usually a hydrogen atom, second one is the addition to a multiple bond, third one is the decomposition, and fourth one is the rearrangement. Okay, and for this I have used reference book Advanced Organic Chemistry, Reactions, Mechanisms and Structures by G. March, 4th edition, a publication by John Wiley and Sons. Thank you.